What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilg, and we're back with Grand War 1-7, and I'm going to be honest, this one comes with a little bit of an apology. I don't have units that I could throw at this that could reasonably do it that aren't max limit broken. Because I maybe went hard on the water team. Just a little bit. That said, let me throw this kind of recommendation out there. Now, I know a lot of you are going to look at this team and immediately be turned off by it because it is completely max limit broken. Let me say this. This assist right here, this Ina assist, she is completely free to play. You can actually get her through the exchange tickets. And she does minus 15% water resist. So that's going to be very, very, very helpful for this team. Also, Argana is a dark unit, and she's still going to prove useful for this team. This, if there's one takeaway I can recommend for this, one takeaway, I would say pay less attention to how quickly this team works and, you know, who's surviving. Because with every other one, we basically put a weak link in the team, and in this one, we really just don't have one. I would say your best takeaway from this would be team building skills. Not going to call myself a great team builder, because I'm not, but this probably could help you come away with some ways that you could assemble teams going forward, though we are probably going to S-clear this with relative ease. That said, we're going to kick it off with Line, doing a 33% SA gauge charge. Once again, her being max limit broken is irrelevant to the team, because frankly, she's going to do one turn and then leave. With Leafia, we've got MP and HP heal, and we've got basically our main damage buffs. It all is also going to debuff agility of the opponent, but it's really not going to be that big a deal in this event. And then we're going to do our main buff stack with the other two units here. Now, the interesting situation here, Ryu is a great unit for this, but if you've used this new Ryu at all, you know right out of the gate that her SA is pretty bad. Honestly, not great whatsoever. Now, that said, I'll show you what we're going to use her for. Now, so here comes Argana. Now, why would Argana be on this team? Well, very simply put, we are going to do a physical resist, magic resist, and guard rate plus 30%. That's just basically going to protect all of our units. This would be a lot more useful if, say, you know, we had some weaker units on the team, but you saw how hard this thing hit. And because of that, basically we're going to come out of the gate with a big buff. Now, there is a better one in the game, but the guard rate is going to help us take a little bit less damage. And you'll see that one probably in a later build. But for now, we're going to use her for a defensive buff. We're going to go ahead and start our buff stack with the rest of these here. Magic of Water is going down 30%. She's going to continue her buffs with a Magic and Dex buff. And then we're going to go ahead and do Strength and Magic down 45%. That's basically going to take the wind out of their sails completely. So basically, if you're following along, more or less, with this, and mainly this, we don't need to do anything else with Haruhime when she comes in, except basically replicate and heal. You actually see that on another team later on too, but team building is an essential part of being in these events. And if you're not effective with your team building, you could run into some problems. Now, we are in a kind of a dangerous situation here because look how low our health is. Now, obviously, if I had some units on this team that were a little bit weaker, units that weren't max limit broken or whatever, they'd be dead by now. So if you're in that situation, you need to probably do your debuffs earlier. Obviously, I could do the 45% debuff right out of the gate. I would then put Argana maybe on the front to do the buff right out, or to do the defensive buff right out of the gate. But since I'm max limit broken, I can play this a little more fast and a little more extreme, for lack of a better word. So here we go. We're now doing our single target attacks, and I'm honestly just going to attack with Riv. She's going to hit so hard and so frequently, I don't need any other buffs. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and do her attack, and I'm going to do the third skill with Ryu. Now, watch how hard Ryu hits with her third skill. It's pretty wild. And what's really fun here is, and remember, she doesn't have any other buffs. This is just with her buffs alone. She's got magic and water attribute damage 60%. Now imagine if she had a better buff than that. That would be pretty awesome, but it's not going to be necessary for defeating this. And frankly, if we wait another turn or two, I kind of feel like we're not going to get what we need out of this, and we're not going to have the S clear. So let's just see how quickly we can clear this. Now, the reason I'm attacking with this Riveria is because Riv is a worm killer. Period. End of discussion. That's it. That's all you need to know. She's a worm killer. She's going to wreck this event out. I wish I had a higher magic and or strength magic attribute, because everyone here is magic. I wish I had a higher magic attribute, but I don't. I could with Haruhime, but I don't think it's worthwhile waiting. I'm just going to come out of the gate with the main attack. Actually, you know what? I will wait. I'm going to go ahead and do this because she's going to increase critical and penetration rate. And basically, if you're not familiar, that's basically this buff here with Haruhime. So that also will take Haruhime's. So we'll wait. We'll do a double SA with Haruhime and Riv. That's how we're going to go. I wasn't originally going to do it, but that's how I'm going to do it this time, just because of reasons. Boom. All right. Then we got our heals, and from this point on, we're really not sweating anything. So every opponent is a little different. You notice some of the opponents earlier, they weren't hitting as hard as this worm is. So when you're in this type of situation, if you have units that maybe have no limit breaks or anything like that, remember, do your defensive buffs first. Turn 5, we're going to do a double SA. Let's go ahead and build up towards it. Now, I believe I've got a rebuff on this turn. I do. So Frozen Orb has 1 attack left. I don't remember if she does that or not. Let's see. She does not. So we're going to continue with that. And no, she doesn't, because she actually predates the anniversary. So there we go. Let's go ahead and continue. So basically, we're going to spam everybody's top skills. Skill 3 with everybody except Riv, whose skill 2 is our highest attack. And then obviously, when we get SAs, we'll just spam Riv's SA. This being the one exception to that. Double SA. Let's just see how this do. Now, after this, we're going to have 100% magic buff. Now watch Ryu do her work. And I'm kind of hoping, I haven't tested this out. I usually did just Riveria's attacks. And to be honest, you got to kind of come up with some decisions at some point. There is an offset in damage. At some point, you can do more damage sometimes with a single unit attacking than buffing and attacking at the same time. You really need to make sure that if you're buffing like this, that in the long run, all your units are going to make up the difference in damage differential between just Riveria doing her thing. And I'll be honest, if every other unit on the team is super low level and your attacker is high level, that tells you right away there's no way that buffing is going to make up the difference. Just like if everybody else was like +1, +2, +3, and then Riveria was max limit broken, obviously I don't want to attack with her. Now, being that she's the worm killer, if she was only +1, +2, +3, and everybody else was up there, might be a little bit of a different situation. All right. So turn 6, we're down to 6 million health. How much did he start with? Good grief. A hell of an attack. And we'll do an MP heal here. And we'll do Yosuga once again. Got to get that MP heal out to keep doing those big attacks with Leafia. But remember, Leafia's not really Leafia's not really doing much here. Let's be completely honest. All right, let's make sure she's all good. Yep. Magic stays at 1 turn. Water attribute is still 60%. So, because I want to make sure that doesn't run out with Ryu, because Ryu's here will reduce single target damage. And let's see here. No, single target damage is gone. Did we not? All right, let's debuff that, because that's going to make a big difference next turn. And I'm going to do that, and that. Let's go. So maybe we actually might have had some more damage on the table. I just let Ryu wear that out. That might have been my mistake. And that could be the difference between, like, turn 7 and turn 8 kill. Now, we're just going to, like, wipe this unit out. You notice how quickly he fell. And this SA is pretty much just going to kill him. There's just no two ways about it. This is end of the road for this worm. And kind of, I hate to build this team and show this team off, because I I don't feel like this is representative of what most of you guys can build, but once again, if you really kind of use your smarts and you say, okay, I need this buff, sure, this unit is not on type, but I can use them as a sack, bring them in, throw them out, and continue. That was almost 3 mil. That's nice. So in that situation, it was definitely worth the buff, because I think without her 100% buff, she might have been relegated to maybe max 1.5 or something like that. So the buff made all the difference in the world. And it's an escalator. So while probably not the most representative of what most of you guys can build, remember, you can mix and match. You don't have to go, just because it says water type down here, you don't have to stick to water type. I've got darks, I've got lights, I've got a fire unit that stayed on rotation. And just because you're going after an escalator doesn't mean you can't use free-to-play units. Look at her HP. Her HP is off the chain. So team building is not an exact science. Just because you throw all max level broken units on a team doesn't instantly mean you're going to win. You need to play smart, and you need to play basically within your skill set. So, in case in point, the reason that I have Demeter on Reveria is because Demeter has a really crazy high magic attack. Her magic attack is 714. I think it's the highest in the game thus far. Whereas he's only 429. Now, it would have been nice to have someone with a higher magic attack on him, but I think that's the highest I have on this team. Maybe if she was max limit broken, she might be a little higher. Maybe. But once again, you want to max out the units that are doing the damage. So I could have put Demeter on Ryu, but then that would have taken probably a whole other turn. So like I said, team building is not an exact science. In fact, in this situation, Demeter at +4, maybe even +3, would have been way better than even Soma. So pay attention to what your units are doing and build accordingly. If there's one takeaway from this, that is the big learning point here. But don't pay attention to the numbers up here attached to the names. Pay attention to what they're doing. That's me, the video, guys. Like, comment, share. I'm going to be back at you guys with the rest of these, and I promise we're not just going to throw crazy teams at these events. I'm going to try to build some faults into these teams so you guys can see how easily beatable a lot of these are. This was a tough opponent, but even as hard as he was, an early defensive buff and with Ryu, debuff would have made anybody survive this. That's the video, guys. Catch you on the next one.